All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm thankful that you're here today. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can somewhat see me. Hopefully you got all of your handouts picked up. If not, please get those done right quick. We'll have a little bit more stuff in a little while, but there's a lot of things for you to have in your hand today. Hopefully you've got that. We're going to be following along in the notes that look like this. I actually just simply printed you my notes word for word, so there can be no confusion as to what's going on. Let's begin by praying together. Father, I want to thank you so much for each of these leaders. Lord, I thank you for the valuable time that they give us today, Lord. I pray that it be that Lord, this time of investment be paid back to them. We pray that it would result in lives being changed and people being saved. Thank you, Father, for what you're going to do in Jesus' name. Amen. First of all, let me thank you so much for being here today. I know there's a lot of things on a Sunday you could be doing, but what we're going to be talking about today is of vital importance to who we are and what we're going to be doing in the days ahead. This is going to be, if you would, for lack of a better term, a reset button. We are going to realize, hopefully by the time we're done today, the most important thing we do at First Baptist Church every Sunday is not music and preaching. It's Sunday school. Sunday school is the most important thing we do at First Baptist Church. In fact, it's so important, if somebody says, I have to make a choice between coming to worship service or going to a small group Sunday school class, every single time I'm going to say to them, go to the small group Sunday school class. Every time. Every time. Through our small group Sunday school classes at First Baptist Church, all of our ministries start and take place. We find our workers through our small group Sunday school classes. We do evangelism through Sunday school. We do missions and ministry through Sunday school. Sunday school is the most important thing that we do at this church, period. Nothing compares to the importance and the vital nature of Sunday school at First Baptist Church. And we have seen that in past days. We saw this pre-COVID. We saw ourselves in a projection of Sunday school growth, which was the fastest in the short amount of time in the history of the church. When Dr. Wilson was here, there was lots of Sunday school growth through all those years. I've got every one of those statistics. But the sharpest upward turn in the shortest amount of time happened between 2017 and 2019, where our average Sunday school attendance went up by over 175 people in average Sunday school attendance every single Sunday in this church. Pre-COVID, we had 789 people average Sunday school attendance. In total Sunday school attendance, pre-COVID. That's a lot. In fact, if we would have had a Sunday in the 500s, people would have said, what in the world happened this week? Where is everybody? And then COVID hit. You say, well, what's the difference between then and now? Well, it's not a pandemic. A pandemic in and of itself, even though it shut us down for a couple of weeks and we had to go to worship only and all, we get all that. What happened was this. Pre-COVID, for about 3 years, our Sunday school classes from top to bottom, from preschool through senior adults, they were working, praying, visiting, ministry, reaching out every single week. I'm in the Adult 5 Sunday School department. We're on the 3rd floor. And you would walk in the Adult 5 Sunday School department every Sunday and there would be somebody new to meet. There would be guests standing all around the walls because they had been invited by people in our small group Sunday school classes. Every time we gave an invitation, people were walking the aisle and joining the church. Pastor's reception was full every single Sunday. COVID hits. Dumb me thought, I'm going to tell you something, when COVID's over with, once our folks were told they couldn't go to church, they got so mad about that and fired up about that. When we opened the doors again, let me tell you something, we're going to get overrun. We better be ready for a crowd. That's the talk we had church staff in Deacon's meeting. Boy, was I wrong. Totally wrong. Opened the doors and went, where'd everybody go? And we've never captured that again since 2020. Had sparks, Level out. A little dip. Another little up, level out, a little dip. And so what happened was all these new people that were coming in and were on the fringes out there, they went away during COVID. Because they had not been in church enough to be discipled yet. They had just started the discipleship process. So they went away. And then we had a bunch of other folks who never came back again as a result of COVID. And since 2020, we've done lots and lots of funerals. Lots of funerals. Lots of funerals. Because most of the time it's me and Dr. Wilson doing it. We've done lots of funerals. So, what we want to do today is we want to hit the reset button. In fact, what I did was I actually gave you statistics for you to look at. This was our fall 2023 statistics. Honestly, it's nothing to brag about. It breaks it down on the front page between preschool children, middle school ministry, high school, adult 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what the enrollment is and what the attendance is. All right? Now, if you look between August and November, at the very bottom, total Sunday school enrollment actually went up. Sunday school attendance, what did it do? It went down. That's a weird thing. That usually never happens. But it did. All right? Last October, 534 in Sunday school with only 14 average guests and everything. That was a low point. That was the lowest October we'd had in years. It was a terrible giving month. It was a terrible attendance month. We don't know why. Can't put our finger on it. Looked at it every which way, asked no idea why. It may have just been a weirdo month. You know, you just have weirdo months, right? Sometimes. All right? And so you see what those statistics were last fall. All right? And then you can turn the page over. You can see spring statistics. Boy, that looks great, don't it? Spring. What does that line do? Straight down. To our lowest average Sunday school attendance of 516. Okay? Now, I bring this to your attention because it shows, statistics, it's one thing for me to stand up and tell you this. It's another thing for me to say, and here's the facts that prove what I'm saying. And you can simply look at it in terms of enrollment. Our enrollment from August of last year to May of this year, or rather from November of last year to May of this year, actually went down by 3. That should never happen, ever. So, statistics just don't lie to us. Okay, so here's the thing. We know what it is. We see it. How do we fix it? How do we fix it? That's what we got to figure out. That's what we got to do. We got to figure out what we're going to do about it. Well, I want to propose to you that we can't fix it. I want to propose to you that the Holy Spirit of God wants to work in you and through me, once again, through our small group Sunday schools, to lead us to the biggest time of growth in the history of our church. There are more lost people that live around First Baptist Church right now than at any other time in the history of our church. There are more prospects around this church to be reached for Jesus than any other time in the history of our church. There are more unchurched people in every way around us. On any given Sunday in Henderson County, Tennessee, less than 10% of our total population attend church of any denomination. Of any denomination. That means 9 out of 10 folks in this community that are friends of yours, neighbors of yours, co-workers of yours, family members of yours, go to nobody's church on any given Sunday in Henderson County of any kind, any brand. Pentecostal, Methodist, Apostolic, Baptist, Baptist-Costal, who knows? They don't even go to the cults. Okay? Now, we're going to figure out a way together to put feet and action to what we say as a church family. We say we're going to take the gospel of Jesus Christ where? Across, street, stage, and seas, because why?
Every life matters.
Every life matters. Okay, so if you look at your handout right there, Let's ask the questions. Do people matter to Christ? Yes or no? Yes. How do we know that? The Bible tells us. I mean, Jesus came and He died for us. People matter to Christ. But here's where the rubber meets the road. Do people matter to you? We say, yeah, people matter to me, but do they? If we were to say people in this community matter to me, what evidence could we give as a Sunday school class that proved people matter to us? Now, we're real good about, we can probably prove to the people that look just like us that come to our class every single week. Yeah, they matter to us, for the most part. But what about all the rest of them? Do people matter to us? Third question. Do people matter to your Sunday school class, and what evidence is there? You see, the reason I started with a thing and then showed you a statistic is because the way things really are can always be backed up with evidence. So what's the evidence? What proof? If we were in a court of law and your Sunday school class was brought before the court of law to prove that people matter to your Sunday school class that aren't already in the class and been there forever, what evidence would there be? See, that changes the subject, doesn't it? That changes the topic. All right? So do people matter to our church? We say they do. What evidence is there? So here at First Baptist Church, our mission as a church ought to also be your mission as a Sunday school leader, because we can't do without you. The most important leaders at First Baptist Church are Sunday school leaders. You're it. Everything rises and falls on your leadership. What happens in our church inside the doors and outside the doors happens because of your leadership in the class. I can stand up in the pasture, I can preach sermons, I can do Bible studies, I can challenge people, I can try to inspire them, I can make them feel guilty. But you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is whatever you're leading in your small group Sunday school class, that's what's going to happen. Because people are going to follow the leader. They're going to follow you as the leader. They're going to listen to me, and they're going to recognize me as the leader and the pastor, but they expect that from me. After all, quote, that's what we pay him to do, as I was told by somebody last Sunday. That's what we pay you to do. Oh, that's news to me. But what really happens because of your leadership. You say, well, I teach preschoolers. Praise God for you. You're one of the most, then you rose to the top of the whole list of the leaders. If you teach preschoolers, you're the best of this. Because here's what I know. It doesn't matter how good preaching and singing is. It doesn't matter how good the adult Sunday school class is. If the baby's not taken care of and the toddler's not happy and whatever, that family is not coming back to this church no matter what we do. Period. That's why you're in the room. You're on board with this too, right? That's just the way it is. Is the mission of our church the mission of your Sunday school class? Probably not. If the mission of our church is not the mission of your Sunday school class, then what is your mission as a Sunday school class? Why do you exist? What is it that you're doing? Well, we're fellowshipping. That's important. We all fellowship, right? I love fellowship. I love fellowship in the church. I love fellowship outside the church. I like nothing more. My favorite thing just about on Sunday morning is walking around to the departments upstairs and just talking to people. I love department time. I love that. All right? I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Or maybe studying the Bible. That's important. We want to study the Bible, right? We want to study the Bible. We want to do those things. But if all we're doing is fellowship and studying the Bible, then we're not on mission. Because our Bible study, any Bible study that we have that does not lead us to take action on behalf of others, we've missed the point. We've missed the point. And it's not about whether I'm happy or you're happy or it's my preferences or your preferences. That has nothing to do with it. It's what have we done next according to what God's Word taught us. All right? So we've got to help transform people's lives through our small group Sunday school classes of every age, from preschoolers through senior adults, and put them on mission with the Lord. It happens through Sunday school. So now what I've given you here is a definition of Sunday school. Here's what Sunday school is. Everybody see that? Read it out loud with me. Everybody has it, okay? And if I left the blank, I don't think I left the blanks, did I? I shouldn't have. You just read it out loud with me. Sunday school is the foundational strategy in a local church for leading people to faith in the Lord Jesus Christ and for building on-mission Christians through open Bible study groups that engage people in evangelism, discipleship, ministry, fellowship, and worship. That's Sunday school. Now, in our church, that's true. Sunday school is our foundational strategy. The foundation, it's a foundation for everything that we do. To lead people to faith in Jesus, build on-mission Christians that engage people in the purposes of the church. All right? So, several key thoughts. Sunday school is the foundational strategy at First Baptist Church. True or false? True. True. It is. Sunday school has the job of first leading people to faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. So let's ask the hard question. How many people has your Sunday school class led to faith in Jesus over the past 12 months? 18 months. 2 years. See, if people aren't hearing the gospel and people aren't being saved, have we fulfilled our mission and our purpose for why we meet? Probably not. How many gospel conversations do you think people in the small group Sunday school class have had with people outside the church? I don't know. But here's what I know. In the coming months, we want to make that go up. Right? We want to make that go up. Nothing would be happier than a Sunday school teacher on Sunday morning that walks in and says, guess what happened during my Sunday school class today? And we say, what? Somebody got saved. It would change everything about your Sunday school class that moment, right there. So, number 3, Sunday school has a job of building on-mission Christians. So the question is, are the people in your class truly on mission for Jesus in and through your class and our church in such a way as to fulfill the mission? That's what we're trying to get to. Number 4, Sunday school exists to engage people to participate in the 5 purposes or functions of the church: evangelism, discipleship, ministry, fellowship, and worship. Does your class engage your participants in these 5 functions or the purposes of the church? Will you make a commitment to change how you view and lead others to view and interact with Sunday school at First Baptist Church? That's what we're getting to. A couple of other definitions here before we talk about the campaign. Small groups are an intentional gathering of 3 to 12 people who commit themselves to work together to become better disciples of Jesus Christ. I've taught Sunday school conferences for years for Lifeway. This is what I always said. And those are the gathering of like-minded believers who are intentionally striving together daily to become more like Jesus through on-mission open Bible study groups. So we say every life matters, and that's what we're going to focus on. In fact, that's going to be the theme of our Sunday school campaign. Every life matters. You saw it on the front of your page. You see that. Every life matters. Every life matters to Christ, the class, and the church. Every life matters to Christ, the class, and the church. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to launch the Every Life Matters Sunday School Growth Campaign on Sunday morning, September the 8th. Sunday morning, September the 8th. We are going to have a celebration date on Sunday morning, November the 3rd. So it's going to run from September the 8th through November the 3rd, realizing that right in the middle of it all is a momentum breaker called fall break. Okay? Now, we can allow that to become a major momentum breaker or not. Okay? But we want to make sure we figured that in. We understand how that goes. But if you've already created momentum, one Sunday off is not going to break your momentum. The momentum keeps going. The thing I love about momentum is like a giant snowball rolling down a hill. It takes everything out of its way and picks up everything with it. All right? Every Sunday school leader, let me say this, needs to have downloaded and activated the Shelby Next app. If you're a Sunday school leader today that does not have the Shelby Next app, please don't leave here today without seeing Dee Lawrence and making sure you've got the Shelby Next app so that you can do attendance, you can do connection and contacts, and you can report all through the Shelby Next app. Okay? You can sit there on any given Sunday morning, and every person that's not in your small group Sunday school class, right then and there, you can send them a text message or an email right then and there by pushing one button using that app to let you know, I'm sitting in small group Sunday school right now. We miss you today. Right then and there, you can do that. That's not rocket science. It's a matter of literally turning it on and going click, click, click. Pushing a button. And we got folks who can show you how to do that. All right? You're now going to be able to enroll someone in Sunday school into your class using the Shelby Next app. You can add visitors using the Shelby Next app. If you don't have it and you're not using it, we need you to do it and to have that. Okay? It's very, very important. So how's the campaign going to work? I'm glad you asked. I'm excited about it. Here's how it's going to work. Number one, you will teach your lessons weekly from the Sunday school curriculum. But do so with an intentional focus for ministry, personal growth, and an outward focus on others. So we're not going to provide you a special material to teach. Teach your small group Sunday school material, whether you do Explore the Bible or Bible Studies for Life. Both of those coming up in the fall have very applicable topics. All right? So I want to encourage you to understand it, but to change the way you teach it. Stop teaching it as a history lesson. Teach it as practical. What can we do about this right now, individually? What can we do about this as a class? What does this lesson say to us about our Sunday school growth campaign? Think about it in terms of that. Number two, use various methodologies for teaching the lesson and engaging the class. You know the worst method for teaching Sunday school? The method you use every single Sunday without changing it. Do something different. Ask questions differently. All right? Be creative. You say, that's not my thing. Somebody in your room is creative. Let them help you. You can go online. If you teach Explore the Bible, you can go to explorethebible.com. Lifeway has that as a website. And explorethebible.com, it gives you all kinds of group activities, all kinds of illustrations, all kinds of questions you can ask that go along with the lesson you're teaching this week. If you do Bible Studies for Life, go to BibleStudiesForLife.com. And it will teach you and show you all kinds of extra stuff that you don't even have in your book that you can use that'll help be creative and change things up a little bit. All right? Number three, members of the Sunday school department will set goals, both for enrollment, engagement, and attendance from day one of the Every Life Matters campaign until Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. Goals. We're going to set goals. Everybody has this sheet. Everybody has this sheet. This is your goal setting sheet. All right? This is not only your goal setting sheet for your class, but based on what comes out of the classes, this will also set the goals for the departments. Now, I know not all of our Sunday school classes, departments have a gathering. I get that. I wish you did. I wish everyone had a gathering. Because it's one of the most important things we do in the church. Because we have the church as a big group in corporate worship. But when you bring it down to the department time, that department time gives you the opportunity for you to look around the room at people who are where you are in life. And you see people who are your age. You see people who are where you are in life. It allows you in the department time to see who's missing, who's not here. Is there ministry this Sunday school department needs to be doing to someone together? Is there something going on that we as a department need to know about that we can engage in, that we can do together to reach people. And then you move into your small group Sunday school classes where people in there are your general age range and really where you are, where you can then even get more specific and even more personal with individuals. It allows the big church to become a small church because of small groups. But in the department time, every department's going to have goals. We're going to draw attention to those goals. I'm in Adult 5 department. Whoever's leading that Sunday, we're going to draw attention to our goals. Here's what we had last week. Here's how many we enrolled last week. Here's what our attendance was. Here's what our goals are. We're going to have a high level of accountability in our small group Sunday school classes and departments. Every class has goals. Every department has goals. You say, well, what if I teach a Sunday school class for children? Your department still has goals. You work together as Sunday school teachers in that department to reach your goals. Now that means you're going to have to, if we're going to enroll people in Sunday school, you can't ask a toddler, hey little Pookie, do you want to enroll in Sunday school? That means somebody's got to be engaging moms and dads and grandparents. Okay? Which means you got to be there in time, early, to get everything ready and be ready to engage moms, dads, and grandparents when they walk through the door. They already have to register. They always have to sign in. They always have to do all this stuff already. But this is another opportunity for us to be able to enroll people in small group Sunday school. All right? Each week, classes will turn in an accountability sheet as to the number of contacts made, gospel presentations given, people saved, as well as the number of new people enrolled to the class along with the average attendance. Now, there's a handout that has that on there. Commitment card. Everybody see it anywhere? It's on there. There it is. There it is. It's this sheet right here. It actually won't be that large, but every week everybody's going to have this sheet. Okay? Now this is very important. Everybody's going to turn this in every single week. All right? And we'll be able to track literally every week, every Sunday school class and every Sunday school department as to whether or not we are reaching our goals. Whether or not we're reaching people. Whether or not we're doing ministry. If something special happened in your class, you had a fellowship, you did a mission project, you're going to be able to tell us about it on this sheet. Okay? Now here's the thing. All of this is going to Emmett Blankenship. Emmett is our Sunday school director. The accountability sheet goes to him. Each week when we begin service, Emmett is going to get in front of the entire church and he is going to recognize in worship at least one class for their achievement and leading the way in this effort. All right? We even have this plaque right here. This is going to be awarded. There's only one of them. It's going to be awarded to a class each week. All right? Sunday school leadership, every life matters. To Christ, to our class, to this church. Every week, Emmett is going to be doing that. We're going to be recognizing classes. That means somebody's got to win this every week. All right? Somebody here, I'm going to put you responsible for this, Emmett. Don't lose that. And he's going to be presenting that every week. We're going to celebrate together every week what God has done. We're going to celebrate all the contacts. We're going to celebrate the gospel presentations. We're going to celebrate people being saved. We're going to celebrate new enrollments. We're going to celebrate attendance. We're going to celebrate what God is doing because that's what we ought to do as the people of God. Celebration is a great part of our worship service. Okay? And then at the end of the whole campaign, one class will be recognized that will keep that as the one that led the way throughout the whole thing. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now look at this. Number 6, starting on Monday, September the 9th, each class member will read and engage in a book written by Tom Rainer titled, I Will, taking one chapter each week for 9 weeks. Here's the I Will book right here. We've got it right here. Okay? This is not a huge book. When I got this book, I sat down and read it from cover to cover in less than an hour. Okay? And then I went back and read it each day, one chapter. And then I went back to each chapter during a week, answering the question. I actually have 3 of these books. Because I've actually gone through it 3 times, because and then I go back and I can compare, because when I went back from the first time to the third time, doing it even slower, God taught me a lot more things through it. All right? I will be preaching the content of this book, well, at least the topic. Okay? I will be using the topic to preach on September the 8th, chapter 1. On September the 9th, we want every adult and student, if possible, for students, to read the book and engage with it. All right? Brother Carlos is going to be sending out a thing every day, every week, of content specifically related to students to put all of this in the terminology they understand and a way for them to engage with it better. All right? Now, we're going to engage in the I will statements. At the end of each chapter, there is an I will statement. And so the goal is to begin your teaching time on the next Sunday, the 15th, with the I will statement. And determine as a class, what will we do? You know, we like to say, well, I'm a church member. I'm a Sunday school member. That's great. But what are you going to do? That's what we're going to get to. And every chapter takes us from being just a member to being engaged. All right? In the process of ministry. So in a minute, you're going to get the opportunity to get these. If you're a Sunday school leader, you'll be able to come in and get those things. Start next week with everybody in the church. They can get them for free if they want it for free, or they can put $5 in the box or something like that. They cost us about $8 a piece. All right? But that's not the point. The point is we want everybody to have them in their hands. We've got a bunch of them. All right? We've got about 500 or 600 of these books. Okay? Number 7. Each week the class will engage in some type of outreach and follow-up to their absentees using various methodologies and strategies. Every week. Every week, every absentee. Every week, every absentee. Every week, every absentee. Now, first thing, what that says to me is, a teacher, you can't do this by yourself. Okay? Don't do this by yourself. That's why we have co-teachers and outreach leaders, and why we have people in our class. Don't try to do this by yourself. That's crazy. You know, again, people also, they expect to hear from you as a teacher, but they heard somebody that's not the teacher that told them they were missed on Sunday. That'd make a bigger difference, wouldn't it? Sure it would. All right? So we ask the question every week, who's missing? Why are they missing? If they're on our roll, are they still in our area? Are they attending another church? Is there a ministry need that can be met? Are there prayer needs the class can meet? Do they still want to engage in the class? Do they still want to be on our roll? When you start interacting with those folks, one or two things are going to happen. Either number one, they will come back. Will all of them come back? No. But if you've got 10 absentees and 2 came back, was it worth your effort? Yes. If 2 came back multiplied by just the number of adult classes we have, our attendance goes up by 60 next week. Just by 60. Next week. So it makes a difference. Some of these folks may have moved away. Some of these folks may not live here anymore. Some of these folks may have joined this church or that church. You know, if they go and join the Pentecostal church or the Methodist church or somewhere else, they don't send us a note telling us they joined over. We don't know about it. All right? And so what allows us to do is be able to find out who these people are. Where are they? What are their needs that we can meet? For some of them, honestly, to be honest with you, the first words out of our mouths need to be, I'm sorry. I just call and tell you I'm sorry. And they'll say, for what for? I'm sorry for neglecting you. I'm sorry for not ministering to you the way that we should have. I'm sorry for not contacting you more than I have. That would probably go a long way, wouldn't it? A little humility right up front. I mean, sometimes that's just where we are with those things. Because being a Sunday school teacher is a hard job. When you add that to, and I also sing in the choir, and I teach RAs, and I teach GAs, and I have a family, and I'm a deacon, or I'm a this. I mean, it's a big job. But if you're trying to do that job by yourself, that's why you got all those people in your class. The most effective way for students to reach other students is for students to reach other students. For the teachers of a student's class to lead their students to reach out to other students. Children, especially older children, love to get mail. Send them a postcard. Call them on the phone and talk to their moms and grandparents, and then send the child a postcard. They love to get mail. Children love mail. All right, there's ways to do this. Number 8, each week the class will engage in seeking new people to enroll in the small group and/or identify any new age or affinity group that needs to be started. Okay? Now, let's just say I'm in Brad and Charlie's class. So we can get together, me and Brad and Charlie and all the men in my class, we can sit down and have a conversation and ask this question. Men, who do you know in the church right now that's our age, but they're not attending Sunday school? Guess what those people are? Prospects. And then we can ask the question, who do we know in our families or on our jobs or in our community or in our neighborhood who's our age as men who are not attending Sunday school? Guess what those people are? Prospects. And before we can get through in probably 10 minutes, we could probably run up 10 or 15 names of men that we as a class can strive to reach over the next 9 weeks. Having a 10-minute conversation. You can do the same thing. You can do that as children's teachers, as a children's department. You can do that as students. You can walk in there to your friends and students and say, who of your friends don't go to church anywhere? Well, here's what I know. 9 out of 10 go to church nowhere. They're friends. So there ought to be plenty of prospects. For everybody. You can go to the most senior adult classes in our church and ask the question, do you know somebody who's not in church but could be? And everybody will say, yes. Who are they? Let's try to reach them. At First Baptist Church Marion, where I used to be pastor, one of the fastest growing churches we had was the senior adult men's class. Because they asked that question one week, who do you know? And those men of 12 came up with 48 names of men their age that went to church nowhere or went to no Sunday school. Some were in the church, some were outside of the church. Some they went to McDonald's and drank coffee with. Some they played golf with. And they got those names together and they tried to reach them over the next 12 weeks. And that men's group became 3 Sunday school classes in a matter of 3 months. The senior adult men's Sunday school class. Everybody in the class was 80 years of age and up. And they became 3 classes of men in 3 months. It can be done. All right? Is there any affinity group that needs to be started? What are we missing out there? What are the affinity groups that we're not reaching but we could be reaching? We should be reaching. What are they? Well, if you're doing some prospect discovery and you ask these questions, you're going to find out what those are. So that when we get to the new year in January, we're starting new classes for these people. Number 9, in every Sunday school class, every class will use disposable name tags every week. Listen to me. Name tags. Every week. Well, we already know everybody. No, you don't. I can promise you right now, you can go to the Adult 5 Sunday School department line, everybody up around the wall, and there's not a single person in the room, me included, who can walk around and tell you every single name and get it right. If you can, I want to shake your hand. We're going to wear name tags. Boom. Clay. Hello, my name is Clay. All right? When you're done, take it off, throw it away. It's okay. That's what we're going to do every week. It's going to be available for you. They're going to be right there in your Sunday school class, your department. All right? If you're a Sunday school teacher for children, when that person walks up that has a child, you make sure you've got yours on. They know your name. They know your name. They know how to get in touch with you. Every child. Okay? Number 10, we're going to utilize daily social media posts throughout the entire process. They've already been created. 9 weeks, or 10, I have 10 weeks for 7 days. I have 70 posts already created that's going to go out via Instagram, Facebook, email, etc. And what they do is they mirror the action steps that we're reading about in that chapter that week. That's what they do. It's something to think about. It's something just to prompt your thinking every day of a way you can take an action to do ministry every day with the phrase, I will. Number 11, each class will receive cards to use for enrolling new people each week. Sunday school enrollment cards are provided here and in the classroom. All right, here's what the Sunday school enrollment card looks like now. It looks different than what's looked in the past. Still yellow, but a different yellow. All right, a lot bigger. Easier to write on, easier to see. All right? You can also enroll people through the Shelby Next app. All right? But this enrollment card. All right? Now, this also is your guest card. Because what we're trying to do, we're trying to ask them, do you want to enroll, be in this class in the Sunday School Ministry role? But they may not want to on that Sunday. That's okay. But you still get them to fill out the card, and you'll just put guest on it because you're going to add them already on the Shelby Next app as a visitor, right? 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 In children's area, you're going to sign them in, right? As a guest, right? Because if you don't, I know, because I get it all. All right? So here's the thing. If I'm a teacher, and I have this, the first thing I'm going to do before I turn this in is I'm taking a picture of it. I can follow up. I have the information in my hand. I know who their kids are, I know who their spouse is. I know everything I need to know about them, and I have it with them. Why? I can pray for them this week. I can minister to them this week. I can assign them this week. All those things happen. All right? Each class will receive a business card for distribution to people we're seeking to reach and invite to Sunday school. They're not here yet. They will be. All right, before September the 8th, we're going to take to every Sunday school class a stack of business cards. And it's going to have the church logo, the church information on there, and it's a way for you to simply use that to invite people to Sunday school. Wherever you are out there, you're going through the drive-through at McDonald's, and you go up and Tammy's taking your money. You say, hey, Tammy, I'm just glad to see you today. I just want you to know we care about folks at First Baptist Church. Every life matters at our church, including yours. Let me invite you to come to Sunday school. And you can invite people to come to Sunday school using that card. Another fun way to do it, here's one right here. Mike's got one. Here's the card right there. A deacon, if you're a deacon, you already got this card. All right? And you'll get some more. But another fun way to do it is maybe go through the McDonald's drive-thru line or the new Starbucks line or something like this and pay for the person behind you. And write a note on this card and say, I'm doing this because you matter to me and to First Baptist Church. My name is so-and-so. Here's my phone number. And I want to invite you to come to our church and come to Sunday school. All right? You say, does that work? Yes. It works. Big time. And if anything else, it shows people the love of Jesus. All right? So we're going to be using those cards. You're going to receive those. Number 13 here, you will display the poster with goals for your class. You will also have a larger poster on the wall in your department, pointing to the poster each week, giving everybody an update on the progress. Number 14, start the class weekly by updating class participants on the goals and celebrate goals being reached and pray over goals not yet met. If you get together as a Sunday school class and my Sunday school class decides over the next 9 weeks we want to enroll 5 new men in our small group Sunday school class, and we're getting to week number 5 and we've enrolled 0, we've got some things to pray about. Okay? So we want to be able to do that each and every week. Number 15, department time for adults and students is vitally important for meeting new guests, welcoming people, fellowshipping with one another, making announcements, and updating progress toward goals. All of that happens during department time. Listen to me. Some of you in the room spend your department time sitting in your room. Stop. Stop. Don't do it anymore. Get out of your room and stand in your department. Stand around out there, meet people. If you don't have a coffee maker, get one. Set up coffee. Make sure you turn it off. Have some waters. Have something. It's amazing how people let down their guard if you're standing there with something in your hand to talk to them. It's amazing how that works. It's especially new people. It's just, I don't know why it works that way, but it does. But don't sit in your class in department time. Get out there and meet people. Shake their hands. Introduce yourself. Get to know one another. Call them by their name. How do I know their name? They're wearing a name tag. Call them by their name. And here, after about the first 2 weeks, it don't matter if they have their name tag on or not. You're going to remember their name because you've now seen it, right? And they're going to know your name. And it's going to change the way things work. All right? The department time is vital to growth. Worship is the church in a large fellowship group. The Sunday school departments help you see those who are there or not there, who are your own age, on the same level of life. And small groups put you into an intimate setting for ministry to take place. All right? Now then, various methods for outreach and contacts. Personal in-home visits from the class. You say, well, now wait a minute now. You're talking about, it's one thing to get together and pray about this. It's another thing to actually have to do something. See, it's going to take action. Now, it would make a difference if your Sunday school class went, and a couple people in the class went and saw someone who was absent. And took them something. Take them a book, take them the book from the class, do a Sunday school testimony about what's going on in the class, take them some food, take them brownie, take something. We live in a very impersonal world. Sit down and personally write a letter or a postcard to them to follow up after you've done an in-person visit. Or thank them for coming if they're a new person who came and visited. Send them a personal letter or postcard. Not just a text, but something personal. All right? Make a telephone call. Statistics show that if you will follow up within 24 hours of a new person being in your small group Sunday school class, if you will make a personal follow-up within 24 hours of them being there, they are 7 times more likely to attend next Sunday. And if you wait 48 hours, it goes down. If you wait 72 hours, it goes down. And if you don't make any, their chances of coming back are slim to none. All right? Send out an ongoing text. Put everybody on your roll on a text. Our Sunday school class has a text group, and we text out what's going on and encouraging things and stuff like that. That way everybody can connect. Share the daily social media focus with everyone in the class. Make sure everybody is seeing that. We're blasting it out there, but you make sure personally, as a leader, everybody is seeing that. All right? Find a way to assign class members to make a variety of contacts to absentees each week. Through the years of my being here, I've told you 1,000 ways. Still my favorite way is to write everybody's name on a sticky note. And when everybody walks in the room, if you're there, take your sticky note off the wall and throw it in the garbage. And then when everybody leaves, everybody gets a sticky note with a name and address and a phone number to contact this week, which we report on next week. That's the simplest thing for you to be able to do. There's so many ways to do that. Find a creative way. Number 7, participate in faith evangelism with a focus for follow-up, discovering new enrollees for our classes, and sharing the gospel. We start faith evangelism next Sunday at 4 p.m. Now, you look around this room right now. If this group showed up next week for faith evangelism, this many people, and we went out for our 6 weeks of visiting, did you know that if all of you showed up, we put you in 3-person teams, did you know we can't even finish the list of absentees by visiting them if every one of you showed up? I'm not talking about visiting new people or people that came on Sunday or all of these kids that from Lexington High School that were saved at the Night of Champions events, or the families that we've discovered during Vacation Bible School who go to church nowhere, or the 30% of the kids that showed up to our summer camps who go to church nowhere, or all these families at our Mother's Day out that go to church nowhere. That's not visiting on one of those folks, but if every one of you showed up and we put you in a 3-person team, we don't even have enough people in this room to visit just our absentees. Think about that. That's pretty overwhelming. That's why we need all of you, and then some. We need you. We're not asking you to give up 13 weeks, we're asking you to give up 6 weeks. From 4 to 5:45 about every other week for 6 weeks is what we're asking you to do. You say, well, I'm not sure I can do that. Well, you sure are not going to be able to do it sit at home. I promise you we'll teach you how to do it. I promise you you'll learn how to share the faith outline, and the people that are on your team will bring you along, and in time you'll get the chance to do it. But the most important thing you'll get to do, you'll learn how to pray for people. You'll learn how to pray for one another. You'll learn how to pray for prospects. You'll learn how to do follow-up. You'll learn how to do ministry. I can promise you that. And you'll feel so good about being obedient to the Great Commission. All right? Number 8, make prayer the central focus on the class. Pray for inactive members, new enrollees, and lost people by name. Number 9, use the I will action steps as a basis for how you do outreach. Number 10, do not give up on people. Don't give up on people. I've contacted I've contacted them every month this past year, and they just half time they'll even return my phone call. They'll even acknowledge I said anything. I'm just tired of doing that. I'm so glad Jesus didn't get tired of us. I'm so glad Jesus didn't give up on me or you. Let's don't give up on people. They just won't come. They're just different. Don't give up on them. Oftentimes, the very ones you're about to give up on are the very ones the Lord might be most working in. And you giving up on them is Satan trying to move you out of their life when you could be instrumental use of the Lord to those people's lives through prayer and ministry. You say, well, those folks who don't fit our class anymore, help them find where they do fit. Help them find where they do fit. Don't take it personal if they want to go to another class. It doesn't make any difference. Let them go to another class. All we care about is people hearing the Word of God. Does it matter if 700 are in Sunday school or 500 in Sunday school? Does it matter if 200 more people hear the Word of God on Sunday? You better believe it does. It makes a huge difference. Again, we're going to do the weekly recognition. And this is some final quick thoughts here. The campaign will have no success unless you as the leader champion success in your own class and department. This campaign will only be as effective as your leadership in the class and department. Leadership expert John Maxwell says, the leader is a lesson. How you choose to lead each week, the attitude with which you approach the campaign, your ability to communicate it to your class participants, your willingness to hold your class responsible for meeting and exceeding your goals will all be paramount to the success of the growth of Sunday School of the First Baptist Church. The goal of this is not how many people are present in Sunday School. Look at this. The goal is this. How many people's lives were changed or are being changed through Sunday School? The end result is not the number. It's not the high attendance number. The end result is a changed life. That's what it is. That's what we're going for. Changed lives. Now, if the numbers aren't going up, the chances of changed lives is going down. You understand that, right? Numbers are important. People who say numbers are not important have never read the Bible. It's so important to God, He put an entire book of the Bible in there called Numbers. Every time you read the Old Testament, God's running a census. He's saying, go out and count how many folks I got out there. Is it because God don't know? No. It's because the people forgot how many they had. Some folks weren't engaged, and so God wanted to count. Numbers matter. Numbers matter. Ultimately, we should be able to start 3 to 5 new Sunday school classes in January 2025. Or restart some. We had some that stopped meeting after COVID. We could restart some of them. As a direct result of this campaign, to see record baptisms. However, it only happened through your willingness to see, believe, promote, and come to understand that to the Lord and the First Baptist Church, every life does matter. Do you believe that? Now let me ask you the question. Does that make sense to everybody, what I've shared with you? I mean, I tried my best to make it as kindergarten simple as possible for everybody. Now, you've got to be able to take it and you've got to translate it into your setting. Because the way it would happen in the Adult 5 Sunday School department is not the way that it happens in the youth department. The words that you use, the communication that you use, the way that you go about it will be different in the middle school department than it is in the high school department. The ways that it happens in the children's department among children's department and Sunday school leaders is different than the way that it happens in an adult class or even a student class. So we've got to take these things and we've got to make sure that we're able to sit down with it and look through it and understand, how do I customize this to speak to my people in my class? How can I do it with enthusiasm? How can I communicate it best? Is it through text? Is it through prayer? Is it through posters? Is it through visit? What's the best thing for us to do? But we're going to do it, but how are we going to do it? That's what you got between, that's why we're meeting today. You got between now and September 8th to figure that out as a class. Don't wait to September 8th to bring this up to your Sunday school class. Take the information I've given you. Don't photocopy that and hand that out. If you do that, they're overwhelmed from day one. They do not care. Find out how to take this information and disseminate that to them in small doses in a way that's exciting. Show them the benefits of what it looks like when our Sunday school grows and our classes grow and we meet people's needs and minister to them. It might be that somebody in your class's best friend, brother, sister, mom, dad, children or grandchildren, they give their life to Jesus in the next 9 weeks because of this campaign. Then if that happens, would it all be worth it? Oh yeah. It sure will be. Do not walk out here thinking, well, this is all about trying to get our numbers back up. If you believe that, you've missed the point. This is all about getting our Sunday school re-engaged in the process of being on mission for the Lord. That's what this is about. Here's what I know. We do work out there in the kingdom of God, that God will grow our church. You don't hear me stand around talking about growing our church. I talk about let's work in the kingdom of God. Let's get out here in the Fair Mission Project. Let's work out here in the kingdom of God and see people saved and do follow-up in a couple of weeks. I mean, we're launching this just as Fair Mission Project starts. 10% of our classes participate. What if all of our classes participate? It'd be overwhelming. There's so many things happening in our church this fall, from the backpack program that we're doing, that your class can engage in mission projects and evangelism, to working with the things that are happening with students and middle schoolers and recreation now, the things that are going to be happening that Jill's going to be leading with our children and working with those things. There's so many ways for you to engage in the process of ministry as a class. It's going to be so awesome and such a great opportunity for us. Okay, now let me ask the question. Who has a question? Who has a question about anything we've shared? Does it make sense to you? Yes or no? Can it be done? Yes or no? Okay, here's the thing. Now, you take that Sunday school goal sheet, all right? In just a minute, some of y'all are in the same departments, and we're going to put you right there with one another in the same departments. And we're going to let you have a little discussion. You don't have to come out with all the stuff today, but I want you to have a quick discussion, about 10 minutes. What does this look like for our Sunday school department? All right? Now, the other thing I want you to do is this. There's a commitment card. On September the 8th, we're going to pass these out church-wide in worship. If you're here today and you're willing to make this commitment, first of all, I need everybody to fill it out whether you want to make the commitment or not, because that's how we're going to know who's here. So we can get the video of the ones who haven't. But, if you're willing to make the commitment, mark so. I'll commit to participate. I will read. I will receive the action step social media post. I will be active, present, participate weekly in my small group. I will invite others to attend Sunday school. If that's you, mark that right here in just a minute. And what I want you to do is this. When you come and you bring that up here, to put that up here, I have, and I'm going to have to go get the other sack now that I'm looking around. We want to give you, people said we were going to get a challenge coin, but then I decided I'm going to make the challenge coin actually a lapel thing. You may have already seen some of our deacons and church staff wearing these around. This is a lapel pin. It's kind of heavy. It's very well made, and these are crazy expensive. Crazy expensive. If you're willing to commit to that, I want you to get this. I want you to be able to wear this. I want you to be able to use this. It's got the church logo at the very top. It says, Every Life Matters. All right? And so what I want you to do is I want you to pick up this. If you're a deacon, you've already got one. But if you're a Sunday school teacher today, Sunday school leader, I want you to pick one of those up. And bring that up here. And I can go get more if I need to. Because we're going to have those available to the church as well. And, those are stuck. And get your book. Your I Will book. Now, some of you who've been in faith evangelism, you've already got this book. Because John, y'all used this book a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
So, if you've been in faith evangelism, we did Faith Advanced using this book. You may already have your book, but you may need to do it in writing if you've already been through it once, okay? Because when I do a study, again, I get a new book, and because I write in my books. All right, I do that. I already got 3 of those books. And this will be my 4th time around. So I want you to be able to do that, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, okay, we're going to make sure that next week, people can, in your Sunday school class, can start picking these books up. They're going to be available starting next week. All right, that's on the poster that you got that you can put in your class. There's also some big posters in some of the departments around the building, all right? But right now, what I want you to do is, if you are in